What's up, guys? This is Acid Roots. I've got Meek Mill's Wins and Losses album to review, and this is actually his third official album, but um, he had an official release last year, which was Dreamchasers 4. It was actually intended to be a mixtape, but the popularity of it made it released for retail. So I tried to review that. I was going to review that a couple months ago, but it just did not click with me, and there wasn't a physical release of the CD, so I just decided not to get it. And the thing was the song that charted was called Liddy, Lit or Liddy, one of the two, and that was basically winter. That was a hot song, and Meek Mill has proved that he still manages to have a career about himself, which I kind of figured, with all this talk. I think some of his problems that he's had in the past, maybe that's kind of like beating a dead horse. But thing is, there's, I think his career is live, so that's kind of the thing. And history about myself is I downloaded the first three Dreamchasers back in the spring. I've been listening to those quite a bit, cracking open a soda, that sort of thing with it. And I reviewed Dreamchasers 1. I'll probably wind up reviewing the other two. The first one probably stands out to me the most, but then 3 actually has some sleek songs on there. It was only natural that this commercial mixtape happened because it also happened with Yo Gotti. For those who understand rap history a little better, rap mixtapes were basically huge back in 2011, 2012, and 13, but they kind of got quiet in 2014 because that's where some of the newer wave of artists like Young Thug and Lil Uzi Vert started happening. Migos and some of these cats, they kind of were in the middle of their come up late 2014 or so. So a classic Yo Gotti mixtape and a classic Meek Mill mixtape were just not as present. Meek Mill went to prison 3 years ago. He got out. He violated his probation and basically is on probation until 2023, somewhere around there. So it's that he does have losses on this album. He talks about the death of Lil Snoop, who was signed to Dreamchasers Records. He's talking about his problems before getting on probation, some of these different things. And, the wins are interesting, but you can't ignore the losses either. And, for the most part, what I was going in looking into this was I was saying, how many songs are we going to have that are ready for a night out? And luckily, he's still, professional at doing this. So Dream Chasers 4 left a bad taste in my mouth, and the thing I thought with it was, well, this is not really commercial ready for me, but I did appreciate this album. So this is, third time in a row that he's managed to get like a series of 4, 5, or 6 songs that are really good, but, divvying up the rest of the album, it kind of doesn't hold as strong. There's too many pianos on this album, too many songs that have the intention to reflect and kind of recover and, in some cases mourn. These are some of the topics that go on throughout the album, and it just seems as if maybe it's 25% recreation and 75% pain. And that is, that's, if you like that sort of thing, Tupac was decent at doing this. It feels like Tupac was better at being introspective and thought-provoking, but Meek Mill's better at, showing his pain and letting you know the problems that he's had. So he kind of tries to take the Tupac approach, but it's different because he actually covers an area that Tupac did not. I mean, I guess if you count the Tupac song Pain, that may be one of the few times, but it just seems as if, this is a different area. But For example, one of the songs that kind of draws from Tupac is Whatever You Need, which does, I think that should show some Tupac type thing. We Ball is another one that, is just about like, fuck, I can't believe that this has happened, it seemed like. And, some of these, but, the best moments to me, which I'm going to list here pretty soon, like Fuck That Checkup and Connect the Dots. I mean, these are back to Dreamchasers hits, like House Party and Derrick Rose, Believe It with Rick Ross, and, some of these extra ones, Tupac Back, these are definitely, there's not a song like that, he probably should have put Lex Luger on here just to revisit old times, but closest we get to that is like DJ Mustard, but it's you know so to reflect on this sort of stuff, I probably would have been more appreciative of like some hits to old days. I almost figured Rick Ross was not going to appear on this album, but he did, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he was on Connect the Dots. His presence is not as large on here, and that's kind of the thing. The guests are kept kind of in their corner, like they don't control the album. Young Thug and Lil Uzi Vert and Future do not, steal the show. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and list the songs that you need to hear. Now, these are all positive, more outgoing songs, but I think you'll eventually agree that that's in good motion. So, Ball Player with Quavo, Glow Up, Connect the Dots, These Scars, Issues, and then Fuck That Checkup. All six of those, which I think pretty much when I reviewed Dreams and Nightmares 2 years ago, I probably gave it like the same score, which is basically is going to get like a 4.5 out of 10. And the whole thing is Meek Mill shows traces. He's getting versatile where he's able to do it, but I think he just tried to show off a different uh, category more often, and it just felt like at this point in his career, that's not what he needs to be doing. I mean, when because you think about performing some of these songs, and the whole thing is it's going to turn into a funeral. His concert's basically going to turn into some sort of funeral. Playing 6 or 10 of different songs that you hear on this project, 6 or so different songs, and that's kind of the idea. I mean, these are going to be perform ready, and it's like, well, this is turning into kind of pity party. So, but I do appreciate some of the rest of these songs. Quavo had a good appearance, and Lil Uzi Vert surprisingly did too. So these are just good moments. I mean, these are some of these cats he hung out with back on Dreamchasers 4, but these are the better renditions. So this is clearly a good purchase, but you just have to understand that. I mean, I guess getting 6 good songs once again, mixtape ready. That's basically, you just treat it like a mixtape, and maybe that was Meek Mill's approach here. Is you treat this album like a mixtape. You take the 6 or 7 best songs that you like, and you're good to go. So that's just how I'm going to treat it. So I am going to purchase this album, not just listen to it on Spotify. All right, subscribe for more fun. And the social score basically gets a 5, just because I like 2 of the songs. One of them charted, and I'm not sure how the rest of them are going to fare. So